biography of Benjamin Franklin.
Mr. Benjamin Franklin. His history dates back to the 17th century with nothing in his hand except some hope. In the 17th century, Benjamin Franklin was born and raised in colonial Boston, United States. His father, Josiah Franklin, was a candle and soap maker who married twice and had 17 children. Franklin had a lot of dreams and desires. At the age of 12 he went to work as an apprentice in his brother James's printing shop in Boston. His dream was to transform himself into a great writer. At the printing shop he would not only be taught how to handle the machines, but also how to edit manuscripts. Surrounded by books and newspapers, he would have plenty of examples of good writing to study and learn from. He thought that it would be the perfect position for him. As the apprenticeship progressed, the literary education he had imagined for himself came to pass, and his writing skills improved immensely. Then, in 1722, it seemed that he would finally have the perfect opportunity to prove himself as a writer. His brother was about to launch his own large-scale newspaper called the New England Courant. Benjamin approached James with several interesting ideas for stories he could write, but to his great disappointment, his brother was not interested in his contributing to the newspaper. This was a serious venture, and Benjamin's work was too immature for the Courant. Benjamin knew it was pointless to argue with James. It soon became impossible to work for him, and by the fall of 1723, feeling somewhat desperate, Benjamin decided to flee Boston, turning his back on brother and family. After several weeks of wandering he ended up in Philadelphia, determined to settle there. He was only 17, with virtually no money and no contacts, but for some reason he felt full of hope. He was fiercely disciplined and ambitious. And he was a talented and successful writer to boot. With no more limitations on his freedom, Philadelphia would be his to conquer. Surveying the scene in his first few days there, his confidence only increased. The two printing shops in town at the time were well below the level of anything in Boston, and the writing in the local papers was abysmal. This meant endless opportunities to fill a void and make his way. Hearing of Benjamin Franklin and of his writing talent, the governor of the Pennsylvania colony, William Keith, sought him out. He was clearly impressed with the young man's intelligence. He urged him to start his own printing shop, promising to lend him the initial amount that was needed to get the business going. Also, he said that the machines would have to come from London, so he advised him to go there personally to supervise the acquisition. He said he had contacts there and would bankroll it all. But when Franklin got to England there were no letters waiting for him. Now he came back to the starting point. After this incident and several other indiscretions in London, Franklin began to seriously wonder about himself. He seemed hopelessly naive, constantly misreading the intentions of the people around him. Thinking about this problem, he was struck by an apparent paradox. He determined to break this pattern and change his ways. To make this process foolproof, he decided he would also have to adopt a new philosophy. A complete and radical acceptance of human nature. He don't want to get upset or try to alter them is futile. He thought it will only make them bitter and resentful. Better to accept such peoples, he rid himself from his terrible naivete and bring some rationality to his social relations. Over the ensuing years, Franklin's printing business prospered. He became a highly successful newspaper publisher, a best-selling writer, a scientist renowned for his experiments with electricity, and an inventor of such things as the Franklin stove, lightning rod, bifocal glasses, and so on. Soon he became an increasingly prominent member of the Philadelphia community. In 1736 he decided it was time to take his career further and enter into politics. In 1776, a year after the outbreak of the War of Independence, Benjamin Franklin, now a distinguished political figure, was dispatched to France as a special commissioner to obtain arms, financing and an alliance. Soon stories spread throughout the colonies of his various intrigues with French women and courtesans, and of his attendance at lavish parties and dinners. Prominent politicians such as John Adams accused him of becoming corrupted by the Parisians. His popularity among Americans plummeted. He had transformed himself into what they had wanted to see in him, the American version of the French spirit and way of life. He was appealing to their notorious narcissism. All of this worked to perfection. Finally Franklin became a beloved figure to the French, and a man of influence with their government. In the end, he brokered an important military alliance and gained the kind of financing nobody else could have wrested from the stingy French king. This final public act in his life was not an aberration, but the ultimate application of his social rationality. At the age of 84, the legacy came to end. Sir Benjamin Franklin died in Philadelphia.